Afternoon, everybody. Have some time to make another video here. So today I'm going to talk about scandal and how I've dealt with it personally in my life. Scandal that's been involved in my life. First thing, a lot of people, I just remember my Ray Comfort video that I made. Somebody was just getting on me, and the first thing he said, one of the anti-Catholic posters, first thing he brought up was the abuse scandal in the church. And I'm not going to run away from that subject. I just refuse to, and I am more angry about that than any of the anti-Catholic people out there that talk about it. Basically, it goes into how can you still be Catholic with a scandal? And my response to him in a nutshell was, I don't leave Jesus because of Judas. And he said, well, you're not leaving Jesus if you leave the Catholic Church, because Jesus isn't there. Which I find hysterical because the Eucharist is present there, and that is Jesus himself. So once you find out what the Eucharist is, you're not going anywhere. There's no way I would go anywhere. And I'm not an apologetics channel. I made those Ray Comfort videos because I really like Ray Comfort, and he would be an incredible asset if he was ever to become Catholic, and I think he has the goods of what it takes if he did some more research. So, for all of the anti-Catholic bashers coming after me, don't come after me. If you want to get into it with educated Catholics, go onto a page like Catholic Truth. He lives for discussion like that. I got one on my newest video last night saying the same stuff that's been debunked for 500 years of the whole you worship statues and all that garbage, and I don't have time to get into it on this channel, and it's not a good first impression if that's the first thing you're going to say. And if you say to me, well, I'm going to say this out of love, and then say God hates your church, that's not saying something with love. That's just something that I take as extremely ignorant and unacceptable. So I'm not going to dialogue with you if you're going to discuss things about the church this way, but I do want to talk about the scandal. And indeed, I won't leave Jesus because of Judas. So here's what happens. My personal life here. I was a baseball player. I loved playing baseball back in my early days of high school. I am left-handed, so left-handed pitcher, and played first base. And I tried out for the high school baseball team. I didn't make it. Absolutely heartbroken about that. So I ended up joining the drama club because I actually really liked movies and a TV show called Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Really thought it was quality acting in that show. Started dressing like the characters, acting like the characters, but they made a really big impact on me. And I said, I'm going to do drama club because Sarah Michelle Gellar is a great actress. James Marsters, David Boreanaz, and Nicholas Brendan. I really like their acting abilities, and I want to go into acting. So I joined the drama club, and it was a wonderful thing. So I had a drama teacher. He was the drama club supervisor, and he was a teacher. He taught bands, but he also taught theater arts, and I had theater arts my senior year of high school. And I got along well with him. He taught me a lot. He was a fun guy to be around. The class taught me a lot about theater. And he would even put on my report card in the comments section, exceptional student. And it was always professional with what we did. He was always funny, and he just taught me a lot about the theater. So back a few years back, I'm not going to give the name out to the teachers. You can look this up if you want to enough. If you're motivated enough to do it, just look up Berlin High School band teacher suspension, and you'll read all you want about the scandal that happened with him. Anyway, it involved, it seems that nothing came of it, but a pressure was put under him for using poor judgment, and he had to resign. So that hurt. He was an idol of mine. And then when I got to Central Connecticut State University, my major was theater education. And somebody recently told me, he said, you tell the story around the group because you're a good storyteller. Well, I give a lot of that to what I learned at CCSU in theater education. We learned storytelling. And then I just found out, when I found out on my reversion back to the Catholic faith, that Jesus was a storyteller. It was something that I said, hey, that's really cool, something I have in common with Jesus. I like to tell stories. But anyway, through that CCSU, one of my teachers, one of my professors, he taught me well. He was a Red Sox fan like I was. We would talk Red Sox. He cast me in a couple of shows that he was directing, and it was a great experience. He was like a second father to me. And then a couple of years ago, he was under fire, a scandal from a CCSU professor, theater department. You can Google that if you want. Just look up CCSU theater teacher scandal, something like that. Anyway, it was involved with relationships with students or advances toward students. And he was married. His wife was one of the teachers at the school, so that brought scandal into their marriage. I really liked both of them, him and his wife. Great people, and I still think they're good people, just really bad decisions. And finally, we will get into a religious one now. The priest that married us, I wasn't Catholic. I wasn't a good Catholic at the time my wife and I got married back in 2009. And when I was going to church, I was always hoping it was him because he was younger and he was hip. And now looking back on it, there was something up. There were red flags going up that I should have seen. Just the way he sat in the priest's chair up on the altar. He just kind of sat there unprofessionally, I guess is the best word I can put. And there were just, everything was jokes and fun and games. And anyway, what happened with that was there was a scandal brought into the church, and it may have made national headlines. I don't remember, but he made a fake Facebook profile and was inappropriately talking to a teenage boy. And it floored me. It brought me to tears because I loved him. I still do love him. And it actually was a couple of months before my reversion. A lot of that scandal started making me really question the church and see what's going on, if this was a rampant thing or not. And we're going to bring this into perspective now. So we're going to go to my high school theater teacher. So since he brought scandal into the school, does that mean that all theater teachers and band teachers are bad and we should just stop going to school? We'll go to CCSU now, my theater professor who brought scandal into the school. So since he brought scandal into the school, does that mean that all theater teachers and every professor at CCSU is bad, therefore you shouldn't go? And now we'll go to the priest. Just because this priest had a horrible lack of judgment and did something completely wrong and brought scandal into the church, does that mean that we should be leaving the church? Or are we dealing with Judas here? Since the beginning of the church, we have a hand-picked disciple, Judas, from Jesus himself, who brought scandal into the church. So you have to figure 1/12 of the church is always going to have scandal in it. And we have some priests and bishops nowadays. I'm sure we have corruption on the inside of the church. There's no doubt about that. I'm not going to deny that. It's been an infiltration. But that doesn't mean we have to leave the church that Jesus established because of it. So I have, when I was in my college days, I was into heavy metal, rock music at the time. And I remember there was a band that I liked. They were called 40 Below Summer. And I went to the concert that night with a friend of mine. And I ended up buying a shirt that they had for sale, the band had for sale. And it was a 40 Below Summer logo on the front. And the back of it had a saying on it, which is hitting me nowadays too. It makes sense now. The saying went, "Your idols are dead. Your heroes are all gone. Now follow the sun." So these were idols of mine. These were three people that were really important. A theater high school teacher, a theater college professor, and the priest that married us. So my idols died with their scandal. My idols were dead. My heroes were all gone. But now I'm going to follow the Son. But instead of S-U-N, it's capital S-O-N. Jesus is who I am focused on now, which is why I remain Catholic. Catholicism is Christianity. We have the heavy hitters of the saints, the writings of the saints and the early church fathers. The early church was Catholic. All you have to do is read what the early church fathers believed, especially about the true presence in the Eucharist. And we just have to see that scandal I am acknowledging, and a lot of us are furious about it, and we're trying to do something about it. Things have indeed gotten better. I mean, one case is too much when it comes to abuse. And the same is true in the school system. One case is too much, but it is completely not right to lump the entire school system or the entire church into scandal. We're going to be separated. Jesus said we're going to separate the weeds from the wheat. These were weeds are the things that I'm talking about. But I still love them. I pray for them because conversion is possible with anybody. I do know that my college professor was very anti-religious. He was a non-practicing Jew. I remember I had made a mocking monologue of Moses. I was playing Moses, and I was kind of mocking it and adding commandments that were broken on the tablet, like thou shalt not wear socks with sandals, wait a half hour eating before you go swimming. That's the 11th and 12th commandment. He thought it was the funniest darn thing, but if I had a chance to go back and do it again, I would have definitely picked something else. Just the immature college mind of, look, I'm a Catholic guy and I can make fun of my religion. And I wasn't really Catholic. People would ask me questions and I'd have no idea how to answer them. So it really takes research, and you have to research. I mean, I really truly think that to see how good of a priest you have, how Marian is that priest? Does that priest talk about Mary ever? Does he promote the rosary ever? Does he say kneel and receive communion on the tongue, and that it's okay to do that? I mean, we're in the middle of a pandemic right now, and I have a priest. The priest at one of the parishes I'm going to is saying, if you want to receive on the tongue, receive on this side, and you can kneel when you receive. He has a kneeler out, and I'm hoping they put in an altar rail at some point. I'm really going to push for it because they just started a brand new Knights of Columbus Council, and who knows, usually the stuff that I want to do, it doesn't end up getting done, but it's worth at least bringing up. But you have to look to see what type of priest you have, and the majority of the priests that we have are very good and holy people. And this is not a problem with just Catholicism. As you're seeing, it's done in the school system. This is stuff that I personally dealt with. If you could simply Google search Protestant sex scandal, and I'm sure you're going to find something. It does not mean that Protestant pastors are evil people. They just betrayed their calling. That's what it is. And it is completely not right to lump all of our priests and our bishops and our cardinals, all of the people in the authoritative positions, we cannot lump them in with the Judas Iscariot crowd. And Judas, he did repent. If you read the Bible, it said he repented and returned the money. And if he did not kill himself, if he did not hang himself, we would have churches named after him. They would be called St. Judas the Repentant Church. Chris Stefanik brought that up. That's not my thing. Chris Stefanik is a great Catholic speaker, and he said we'd have churches named St. Judas the Repentant. I mean, imagine how cool that would have been. But the main thing is I acknowledge scandal, but I'm not going to lump them into, it's just not right to bring the good and holy priests down with them or the church with them. That's exactly what the devil wants. And that's the lie that he tells people. The devil likes to use our emotions against us and our feelings against us, especially when it comes to the really tough topics. It's like it goes back to the Garden of Eden. He says, did God really say that? Did he really say that? And we have our priests there to tell us the truth of the church. That's why I'm in solidarity with them. I'm a Knight of Columbus. I took with my degrees that I took as a Knight of Columbus. I am in solidarity with our priests. I like some priests more than others, but I'm in solidarity with each and every one of them because they bring us the Eucharist. They are here to save souls. That's what they do. And for those that have betrayed their calling, I don't lump the good priests in with the bad ones. And the high majority, my father was an altar boy, all right? And my father, growing up, had a lot of priests move in and out of that church. They just kind of moved around parish to parish. And my father said he dealt with over 100 priests, or around 100 priests is what he's saying, as an altar boy. And he said he never had a single problem with a single one of them. So this goes to show you it's a very, very low percentage, and people nowadays like to bring up the low percentages with things, of the things that don't happen often. It happened too frequently. One abuse scandal is too much. One is too much, and something has to be done about it. Something is being done about it. All of the people, we're going through what's called Virtus training. If you join any church organizations, and it's a 3-hour class on what we need to be looking at with adults with children, and signs that we should be looking for. And they had actual pedophiles in this video that it showed us of the tactics that they used. Those that were pedophiles that were caught and put into jail, they said the tactics that they used. And this is stuff that we have to be on the lookout for. And believe me, if I ever saw a priest or a teacher acting inappropriately, I would say something. 911 would be called, I assure you of that. So anyway, I just wanted to bring up the scandal that's been involved in my life. And the people who brought the scandal are the ones that hurt me the most. And it's not all Catholic priests. Just wanted to throw that. So my idols are dead. My heroes are all gone. Now I follow the sun.